right shin, fouled the ball off his right leg June 3rd and was out nearly 80 games over the summer.
Talked about that left foot of Kyle Tucker last night. Very like a bull, ready to charge out of that left-handed batter's box, constantly scraping that left foot in that back foothold. He's digging at it right now. He'll do it right up until the moment Merrill releases a pitch.
Well, Merrill walked Happ behind right away on Tucker. 2 balls and no strikes. Remember, the Diamondbacks last night, 6 walks. 3 of those walks scored. And that's where Gallen really got into trouble. Zach walked 4. There's the strike.
It's not just walking guys, it's who you walk and when you walk them.
That second inning, Gallen last night, back-to-back walks to the 7 and 8 hitters. They both scored. 2-1 runs in there. Tried that cutter, a little too much cut. And it's 3-1 with Seiya Suzuki on deck. There's those quick feet of Merrill Kelly.
And this is generally a good run count, 3-1. You know, pitcher's got to throw a strike right here. You've got a dangerous hitter at the plate. If he does throw a strike, you can play it almost like a hit and run. Oh, we got it. Ooh.
Safe, says Tony Randazzo. And we'll see if Torey Lovullo wants to challenge.
Nice play over there by Josh Naylor to pick that one out of the dirt. And it looked like he slapped a quick tag on Ian Happ.
Phil Cuzzi is waiting to see if the Diamondbacks will challenge the plate umpire. Tony Randazzo made the call at first, and it's play on.
Play on.
Here's a look. Boy, that was close.
It was close.
Besides the defensive lapses last night, Torey was not at all happy with the way the Diamondbacks failed to control the Cub running game, especially with Pete Crow Armstrong. So that's near the top of the list here tonight. Now the 3-1. Happ holds it first. Tucker fouls back a fastball.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting too. After the ball game, Torey was talking about controlling the running game, slowing down the fast runners in this Cubs lineup, and talked about back picks from the catcher Gabriel Moreno to the first baseman to get that runner to shorten up his lead. Even a step would have made a difference last night on that play at second base.
So 2 batters, 2 full counts for Merrill Kelly. Gabby has the night off. Happ got a good jump. There he goes. Tucker lines it to center. Alec Thomas is out there. And Happ hustles back to the bag at first. Brings up Suzuki. It's been a slow start for the Cub DH. Did have a single in the 6th inning last night. That's been his only base hit this year. 1 for 13, 21 home runs last year for the Cubs.
They're looking for that ground ball right now. Expect to see some sinkers, maybe some change-ups down in the zone. Try to put that ball on the ground.
Merrill's final Cactus League start was last Saturday, Scottsdale Stadium against the Giants. He called it definitely the best he's felt all camp. Very encouraged. There's another check on Happ over there. Felt really good, really encouraging. Like the way his body felt, the rhythm of things, the way the ball was moving. So he comes in feeling pretty good about things. Retired 9 straight Giants in that game at one point. There's the strike. As he goes to that slider, it's 0-2.
Yeah, that's a changeup. Was that a slider? I thought it was a change. But anyway, that's an off-speed pitch up in the zone, middle of the plate. You take a deep breath after the hitter doesn't swing at that one.
He swung at that one. He elevates the fastball and gets his first strikeout.
Just rushes it by him well above the top of the strike zone right there.
It's a page out of the Ryan Nelson playbook.
Yeah,
we talked about it with Nelly last night. First baseman for Chicago again this year, the youngster Michael Busch in the cleanup spot. Merrill trying to strand that leadoff walk to Happ. And he's going to do it. Naylor's got it on the short hop, and it's a one pitch out to Bush. A scoreless first for Merrill Kelly. Right on the corner for a strike. Merrill with that four-seam fastball. Jose Herrera back there tonight. Dansby 0 for 5, struck out twice in the opener last night. Former first overall pick by the Diamondbacks. Now in his 10th big league season. Well, the matchup that everyone is anticipating, or perhaps not anticipating, depending on your point of view, is the Shelby Miller Dansby Swanson matchup. They were once traded for each other in 2015. After Dansby had been made the #1 pick in the draft by the Diamondbacks, he was traded by a former regime to the Atlanta Braves for Shelby Miller, among others, and Shelby has made the club with a bullpen spot here this year.
Yes, indeed.
So we'll anticipate perhaps that over the course of the weekend here. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Merrill tried that slider, threw a lot of sliders in that last spring game Saturday at Scottsdale Stadium. They're still trying to get a feel for that pitch.
Yeah, usually when Merrill wants something working away from a right-hander, he throws that cut fastball, but he's trying to get that slider to have a little more downward break, look a little bit like the cutter, but then fall off the plate.
He's gone to a full count. 3 balls and 2 strikes on 3 of the first 5 Cub hitters. He's walked 2 now. And Swanson aboard ahead of Nico Horner. Nico Horner made his season debut in the game last night for the Cubs. Singled twice, walked, knocked in a run. Horner, of course, stayed behind on their Japan trip so he could remain in Mesa. Continue his rehab over at Sloan Park. Had surgery on the flexor tendon in his right forearm last October, and they felt it would be best if he stayed back and continued with that. So he's 2 games behind the rest of his Cub teammates after a long winter of rehab. Diamondbacks seem very attentive to Cub base runners. You have to be with Swanson. He swiped 19 bags last year. Only caught 3 times. That one runs in for ball 1.
Well, the Cubs certainly showed last night what they're capable of doing on the bases. They've got a few guys in this lineup that can really burn on the bases, and Torrey, as I mentioned before, talked about it after the ball game. We've got to find a way to slow down their fast runners. And of course, the easiest way is don't let the fast guys get on base.
There's that. But as you mentioned, and Torrey was, it's funny to hear a manager complain about lack of back picks as strenuously as Torrey did last night.
Yeah. Well, it's a good weapon against an aggressive running team with good speed. You get a guy on at first base. He's trying to get an extra step on his lead, and that catcher back picks over there. That'll change things.
There goes Swanson. Hosey backhanded that change up in the dirt. Dansby's got the stolen base. No chance for Herrera to make a throw there.
Yeah, just a great jump that time by Dansby Swanson, and then an impossible pitch to handle behind the plate for Jose Herrera. Has to reach over in that left-handed batter's box, off balance. Wise not to make a throw right there.
So again, the Cubs aggressive base running. They've been on the move so far in this series. He's at second, a 2-2 count on Horner. Reaches out and pokes that one foul. Merrill goes back to the slider. They're confident that Merrill can get up to 90 pitches tonight. That's the target number. In fact, Torrey said he expects 90 amazing pitches. So the bar's been set pretty high for Merrill tonight. But he's a veteran, certainly not his first rodeo. He can spin it. He can find the zone with 3 or 4 different pitches. Well, that one just ate him up. Perdomo will throw to first this time, and Naylor can't scoop it. That's one thing about the loss of Christian Walker. We were so spoiled by Walker's gold gloves on those low throws, and Naylor couldn't quite get a grip on that one.
Perdomo unloads immediately. No icky shuffle whatsoever. Unfortunately, the throw is just a little bit in the dirt that time for Naylor. Might have been able to stretch out just a little bit farther toward the ball rather than out toward right field. Just clanked off the glove.
Boy, another E6, and again, it's the plays you don't make. A walk and an error by the shortstop will put 2 on for Chicago with nobody out, and here is the youngster Pete Crow Armstrong. This is starting suddenly to look like last night. Allen had some early walk trouble, walked 2 in the second inning. Merrill has walked 2 so far. Cubs have run on the bases. We've had some defensive miscues. Got to snap out of this funk. Left center, Lourdes can't get it. It's off the wall. Swanson had to hold up. They're going to wave him around third. They put the brakes on Horner, and the Cubs have the lead. Pete Crow Armstrong has been a nuisance in this series, and that trend continues.
I think this guy's going to be a nuisance for a long time with the speed he has and his ability to spray the ball all over the field. He had to go down and hit a pretty good pitch. 92-mile-an-hour sinker down there at the bottom of the zone, but splits that gap in left center field. Thought Lourdes might have had a chance to get there, but just sails over his head.
A walk, a stolen base, and an error by the shortstop all collectively lead to a Cub lead. So we are right back in about 24 hours ago mode here.
Like PCA shaved the stars out of his blonde hair out there at second base. If you were with us last night, his hair was a little bit longer, and you could see the remnants of blue stars that he had dyed into his hair.
His hair is usually changing day to day or week to week, but he was certainly in the thick of things last night, PCA, and had it again tonight. The rookie third baseman is Matt Shaw. A run home, still nobody out. Second and third for the Cubs. Matt Shaw on base 3 times last night. He scored 3 runs, walked and singled. And Gracie on the pregame show with Jody was talking about the unusual batting stance of Matt Shaw, which includes that turn front foot and a fairly dramatic leg kick.
Yeah, kind of a swing leg kick as he strides into the pitch. It's been successful for him everywhere he's been. He's been a quality hitter. This is the big leagues. I asked Craig Counsell about Shaw before the ball game, and he said, you know, we expect him to have struggles this year. We hope he gets off to a good start and builds that confidence, but they really think he's going to be a good player.
Very impressive college pedigree at Maryland. In fact, one of his summers in college, 2022, in fact, he won the Cape League batting title and was Cape Cod League MVP. Led Bourne to the Cape League championship. Former Diamondback Carson Kelly on deck. And Shaw takes time, 2-2. Shaw is a Massachusetts kid out of Worcester Academy. Grew up going to Red Sox games at Fenway Park, where he idolized another kind of smallish infielder, Dustin Pedroia.
Sure.
That was his guy.
Good role model.
Shaw is 5'10" and crouches. Tapper back to the mound. Merrill's got it. Looks Horner back to the bag, and they get the out. That's how that's done. And here is Carson Kelly. A one-time Diamondback last December, got a 2-year deal from the Cubs, $11.5 million. And they have paired him up behind the plate with the youngster Miguel Amaya, who had such a big night last night. One run home for Chicago, second and third, 1 out, and there's ball 1. That slider has not really been an effective pitch for Merrill so far tonight.
Kelly against Kelly. Makes me laugh only because my daughter has a good friend in Chicago whose name is Kelly Kelly.
On purpose?
Well, yeah, I guess, you know, you pick your husband and you take his name, and that's the way it worked out.
That's the way it works out. Could hyphenate or something.
Yeah.
Ooh. Herrera able to hang on to the foul tip. That's a big strike for Merrill Kelly, and now it's 1-2. As he gets ahead of Carson with Ian Happ on deck. Happ's already had himself a big series. So he'd like to get that second out right now. Nico Horner down there at third base. Crow Armstrong's at second. Right to Perdomo, coming home. Hosey got him.
Yeah.
Herrera hangs on and puts the tag on Nico Horner.
Nicely done right there. After you've already made one throwing error in the ball game, you tend to grip that ball a little bit too tightly, but a perfect throw that time for Perdomo to Herrera, just in time to cut off that runner at home plate. Nice.
Well executed there by the Diamondback infield. And now they need one more out to get out of this and strand those two runners now in the corners with two down. Ian Happ walked his first time. Focus for Merrill Kelly, he said this spring, is glove side pitches, which in Merrill's case is into left-handed batters, away to righties. Primarily, though, he wants to get into the left-handers. And that's an area that they have identified where he could be better. And so let's see if he wants to come inside to Ian Happ right here. Drops that breaking ball away. Merrill felt like last year he really struggled getting inside to the left-handers and establishing that part of the plate with the sinker, the cutter, but especially that sinker. And that's been an emphasis this spring. Perdomo's calling for it, and the Diamondback infield bounces back defensively. So a chance here for Corbin to tack on a run. Swanson backs off a bit at shortstop now.
Yeah, that's not an easy call for any umpire. I mean, you think about that runner stretching his arm, trying to get back to the base. Defenders trying to put a tag on him. The hand may be on the base, the tag may be on the lower back. That's tough for any umpire to see both of those things at the same time.
Yes, he went, says Dan Bellino. Couldn't check upstairs, and it's 0-2. Yeah, all right, fine.
We'll grudgingly give it to you.
Now the 0-2. And under this one, sky high left center. Ian Happ is out there with all those gold gloves. But the Diamondbacks answer back, and we know it's Gino. 2 games, 2 homers for Suarez, and after 2, it's 2-1 Diamondbacks. Straight, and I mean straight up in the air. This might take a while. Hosey has got it, navigating that furniture down there along the on-deck circle. Nice play there by Hosey. That's a routine easy play, right? No?
It's, for most catchers, it's not as tough as you might think, because they've done it a million times in spring training. They've had coaches hitting fungos, catching pop-ups off machines. I'm worried about the on-deck circle.
Yeah, I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah,
that's
jumping
very
over
well
the stuff.
play.
I mean, there's all kinds of stuff down there.
He's got a bag of stuff down there.
Yeah. I don't know whether that's good to have it all in one bag or have it scattered all over the place like it usually is. Always dangerous.
Who was the guy like 5-6 years ago that kept moving the on-deck circle? Remember that?
Well, it was Adrian Beltre.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah, good call. Good call. Very good call.
They kept chasing him back to the on-deck circle, so he just grabbed the circle and pulled it over where he wanted it.
That's what got him in the Hall of Fame. 1-1 on Seiya Suzuki. I mean, that was just funny.
It was.
It's a good bit. Suzuki struck out in the first. Merrill has struck out only one, walked two. That's slammed to left. And it's off the base of the bullpen fence, rolling away from Lourdes. And Seiya Suzuki has a 1-out double. That ball was smoked.
I don't know whether it's the acoustics at Chase Field tonight or whether guys are just squaring up balls, but that one off the bat at 113. Screaming line drive right to the base of the wall out there in left field.
Yeah, that's like the Bugs Bunny cartoon when it has a mouth on the ball and it's screaming. Runner at second, one down for Michael Busch. Busch grounded out to end the first. Swung the first pitch. Not that time as Merrill lands that breaking ball in there for strike one.
Merrill's only thrown a couple of cutters in the ball game so far tonight. That was kind of his go-to pitch at times last year, but as we talked about earlier, he's trying to perfect that slider, make that a more usable pitch, and has kind of scrapped the cutter.
Hard to second, right at Ketel. Suzuki gets third. Diamondbacks get the second out. And now it's Dansby Swanson. A lot of hard contact in this game. Suarez's homer, 436 feet. Diamondbacks have stung a bunch of balls at 100 miles an hour or over that. Suzuki just hit 113. The exit velos are up tonight. Diamondbacks have out hit the Cubs 4-2. They lead it 2-1. Swanson walked and scored in the second. Still looking for his first base hit in this series. Fastball missed away, 1-0.
Yeah, you mentioned 0 for last night, but boy, he made a couple of sparkling defensive plays, including a 3-6-3 double play that was just out of this world.
Yeah, he has twice been a Gold Glove shortstop, Dansby Swanson. Oh, took a rip. There's a good slider from Merrill Kelly. So maybe he's starting to find that pitch a little bit. That was a good one right there. Suzuki's down at third. 1-2. So he's showing him the fastball, the slider. That was the sinker there. This is what Merrill Kelly can do. He can really mix things up all in the zone. Rolled to short. Perdomo gobbles it up. And Merrill Kelly strands that 1-out double. It stays 2-1 Diamondbacks. Our player profile brought to you by Progressive. Brandon Pfaadt. Good news today for all Diamondback fans. A 5-year, $45 million contract extension. He starts here tomorrow.
No wonder he's smiling.
Exactly right.
Yeah, good for Brandon. He's a strike thrower, rarely walks anybody, rarely puts himself into trouble. And that's a good way to succeed at the major league level.
Ketel Marte leads off the third against Jameson Taillon. Marte singled in the first. Already 3 hits in the series, and there's strike one. Edge of the grass for Nico Horner. They retire Ketel to start the third. Brings up Lourdes Gurriel Jr. Jameson Taillon, another big boy out there, 6'5", 230 pounds. He got Lourdes to pop up with the first pitch he saw back in the first. Terrific running grab by Nico Horner in short right field. Taken all the way in the breaking ball. The concern with Taillon has always been durability. He has a complicated injury history, shoulder fatigue. He's dealt with testicular cancer. He's had elbow trouble, Tommy John surgery. But when he's on, and he was on last year, he's a pretty good pitcher, 12-8. And had a very good finish to last season, 3-0 in his final 5 starts. Ooh, a little bit off the plate there for Phil Cuzzi, but it's strike one.
Great pitcher's pitch, but didn't appear to be in the strike zone. vicious hack that time at a four-seamer up and out over the plate, right where Lourdes likes it.
Two balls and two strikes. Taillon 40 pitches, 28 strikes. Lourdes doesn't bite down there. There's the sweeper. And it's full, 3-2. Naylor on deck. Gurriel will take his timeout. Last year, 18 homers for Lourdes. 75 runs batted in, an all-star for the Diamondbacks 2 years ago. 3-2. Fights it off, carves it out to right field for Tucker near the line, still drifting over there. They retire Gurriel. That brings up Josh Naylor.
It's just a routine fly ball out to right field for the second out of the inning, but for Josh Naylor, that's a big out. If somehow Gurriel finds his way on first base, that leaves a dead left-handed pull hitter with that right side of the infield opened up. You'd be surprised how many times those guys in the on-deck circle are rooting for the guy ahead of them to get on, just to create some holes in the infield.
Boy, Josh trying to golf that first pitch curveball out of here. 0-1. Yeah, it's pretty much straight away. Well, that's the book on how to play Naylor. Carl Armstrong in center, shaded over toward the pool. He had a 30-100 season last year for Cleveland, but more than 85% of the time last year, Josh went to either his pull side or to center field, so he rarely ever goes the other way. And Carl Armstrong doesn't have to go too far over with his speed to cover right center. We're getting a steady diet of breaking balls. Another curveball there fouled off. Taillon, who gave up 3 rockets to start the second, including the Suarez homer, has set down 5 in a row since and is ahead of Naylor 1-2. Make it 2 balls and 2 strikes. Won't chase that fastball up there. Two. That one goes right to Nico Horner. Taillon has settled down. He set down 6 straight, but trails it 2-1.
Kenny Dillingham, Arizona State, handing over that Big 12 trophy to Merrill Kelly. Now Kenny went to Chaparral, Merrill Desert Mountain. They've been friends. Their wives were on the dance team at ASU together. 2 Sun Devils celebrating. And you know what is interesting, guys? Torey Lovello invited Kenny Dillingham to spring training and gave a motivational speech to the guys. And Kenny actually said that afterward he actually learned more because he learned a lot about the game of baseball. He had no idea how intricate everything that goes on during spring training is. So it was kind of a learning lesson for both sides, but a cool story. And Merrill and Kenny enjoyed that Sun Devil celebration on the field last night.
Alec Thomas with a sliding grab in center. Takes a base hit away from Nico Horner. Thank you, Jody. Merrill Kelly settling down nicely, coming off an 11-pitch third, and he's got 1 down here in the 4th.
Like a little change up out there in the outside corner. Got the end of the bat. Alec had to break in a hurry. Took a step back, but then recovers in time to make that sliding catch. I think they're going to make the Cubs take the duffel bag back in the clubhouse.
No, they're going to.
Yeah, so now you're going to dodge all of it. Yeah.
Isn't that worse? Have more stuff out there? I packed it so nicely, too.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen on-deck circles that had 2 different lead bats.
Oh, yeah.
3 different donuts, 2 different rosin bags.
Looks like a garage sale out there.
A couple of different pine tar rags, that stick-em stuff they rub on the bat, and it's all just laying out there in the on-deck circle, waiting for a catcher to step on.
Oh, that's nice and tidy
That's a
now.
little more tidy, yeah.
This is the big leagues. Come on. Pete Crow Armstrong, an RBI double in the second, comes out a 1-0 lead. In the top half of the second inning, Diamondbacks got him back at a home half, a 2-run home run by Eugenio Suarez, his second this year. And that's been all the scoring so far.
I was down at Craig Counsell's office before the ball game today, and I asked him, tell me a little bit about PCA, and he just cracked a smile and said, he's an interesting guy.
He sure is.
Personally, I like it. I mean, I'm not rooting for Pete Crow Armstrong tonight, but I like that the game of baseball has reintroduced speed.
And characters.
Yeah. You know, it used to be, well, you just need some big guys to hit the ball in the seats as often as you possibly can, and we'll win games that way. And the teams found out it's not that easy. So we're starting to see guys like Corbin Carroll and PCA and Alec Thomas. It makes it a much more exciting game.
Well, Pete Crow Armstrong was a first-round pick by the Mets out of that high school factory in LA, Harvard Westlake. He was the number 19th selection in that first round back in 2020, but the Cubs picked him up at the deadline the following year as part of a trade that sent Javier Baez to New York, and that I think is going to work out pretty well for the Cubs. And he's a speed burner at the age of 23, just turned 23 in fact. Pete Crow Armstrong, 2-2. It's full. Well, ever since the Crow Armstrong RBI double in the second, Merrill has set down 7 of the last 8 batters he's faced. Now he's facing a full count. They have got to keep him off the bases. They just have not been able to do it. And now we're going to start this Michigas. This guy is a disturber, Pete Crow Armstrong, PCA. Shaw, the hitter.
Well, of course, from what we've seen already in this ball game, the scouting report that the Cubs have on Merrill Kelly, they know he's got quick feet. They know he has a real good pickoff move. So this should be a lot of fun right here.
Not the guy. Not the guy you want to walk, and they picked him off, says Tony Randazzo. And a little collision there with Josh Naylor. PCA's not going anywhere. They want to check the video.
Look, they had him leaning that time. Yep.
He's out. He's headed back to the dugout. Merrill Kelly, you talked, Bob, right away. He's got one of the best moves in the business. There's those quick feet right there.
And you know that's going to make Torlavello extremely happy. He talked at length after the ball game about trying to control the Cubs runners, and so far Merrill's done a great job of it.
Even not so much picking guys off, just not letting him get that big lead.
Yep.
Corbin has got it. Diamondbacks settling in with some solid defense. One more look. You're out. Diamondbacks have a 2-1 lead.
Gets a little residual anger from those pitches up around his chin in his last at bat of the ball game last night. He really didn't get all that one, only 418 feet.
He's homered now 3 times in his first 6 at bats to start the year. Boom.
Oh man, he's just not missing his pitch at all.
Well, you know, we talked about that. He led the team in walks this spring. And he's a guy who has 3 times led the league in strikeouts. So if he is more selective up there, he is going to do some big time damage. Alec Thomas with another knock. Alec going for second, and he's in there standing up with his second double. He's 2 for 2. Just like the second, we start out 3 consecutive hits.
Got on top, a high pitch right there, 93 up at the top of the zone, 106 off the bat, another hard hit ball off a D-back bat.
Diamondbacks have 7 hits, 5 of them for extra bases, and it's good to see Alec Thomas healthy and running.
Conference time at the mound. Tommy Hotovy, the pitching coach out there. Geraldo Perdomo will be the hitter as we check back in with Jody Jackson.
Well, guys, you mentioned the homers. Suarez off of Tyone. He came into the game with 7 hits, so now 9. 5 of them are home runs off of Tyone.
Onage.
Yep.
Hashtag Onage.
Got the pink slip.
You won a flush last night. I mean, it just didn't go well. They were never in sync from the top of the first inning on. Things just did not click. So you can flush that one and leave here tonight with a good feeling. We got fireworks tonight. Roof and outfield panels open. They've out hit the Cubs 7-2. They now lead it 4-1. Still no outs in the 4th. I think Gino's brought a few fireworks to the show.
Yeah, there's been 10 balls in this game hit at over 100 miles an hour, 8 of them by the Diamondbacks.
Well, you do that, things are probably going to work out more often than not. Oh, Jerry tried to back leg that one. 1-1. Perdomo was the first of the 3 Diamondback youngsters. Perdomo, Martinez, and today fought to get a contract extension. Jerry, on the first day of spring training, got a 4-year, $45 million deal. The front office clearly locking these guys down. The young building blocks of this foundation. Perdomo slaps it to center, and that drops in for a hit. They're going to wave Alec. Here he comes. He will score. And it's 5-1 Diamondbacks. 4 consecutive hits open up the Diamondback 4th inning.
It's contagious. They've said it for years. Hitting is contagious. You see the teammates in front of you start squaring up balls, and you want to do the same thing. Nice, quick, abbreviated swing that time by Perdomo. Very little stride with the front foot. And then the Cubs threw it around a little bit there in the infield. Almost an opportunity for Perdomo to advance to second.
Perdomo already with 3 RBIs in the series. Jose Herrera bats 9th. He struck out in the 2nd. Gabriel Moreno getting a scheduled day off today. Still quiet down there in the Cub bullpen. Tyone 66 pitches. He's given up 5 runs on 8 hits. He has 1 strikeout. He's not walked a batter. Posey squares it up, drops down to beauty. Shaw, the rookie, makes the play. They move Perdomo along. Jose's a very good bunter, and he just showed why right there.
Just perfect. Just deadened that ball out there where catcher couldn't get to it. The pitcher couldn't get to it. Shaw's got to come in and make the play from third. Notice he bunted it right out near the end of the bat. This is one time you don't want to barrel the ball. You don't want it to come off the bat hard toward that third baseman. You want to hit out near the end or down near the handle and deaden the ball.
Now a chance for Carolyn Marte, an RBI opportunity. Corbin so far 0 for 2. He has grounded out, flied out. Corbin this spring led the Diamondbacks with 4 home runs.
By the way, the exit velocity on that bunt, 20 miles an hour.
His staff is amazing. Corbin smokes it right at Tucker. A sinking liner. He hauls it in for out number 2.
We can't hit it much harder than that.
116.
Oh, goodness. Unfortunately, Tucker either catches that ball or he's on his way to the emergency room. That was just another screaming line drive. Right at Kyle Tucker out there. Has to go down to a knee to make the play.
So 2 outs now. Domo still at second. Here's Marte, who singled in the first. Ketel 3 hits in the series to this point. Well, Phil Cuzzy's been giving the pitchers that strike call out there pretty consistently. It's 1-1. There goes Domo, got a big jump. No throw, and he's in there. Pitch was a strike to Ketel. It's 1-2. Could we be stealing third base with 2 outs and Marte up there?
As long as you make it.
All right.
Boy, he just had a walking, running lead out there at second base. But yeah, you better be about 99.9% sure you can make that one.
Can't get Ketel to offer at that curve. 2-2.
I know you're a big fan of pace. On pace.
Pace.
Gino's on pace for 243 home runs this season.
I think he can do it. Wait, what? Careful out there. Look out there for Tyone. You've been getting that call, but that cutter didn't quite cut enough. And it's full 3 balls and 2 strikes. Carves this one. Little soft liner for Happen left. Diamondbacks got 2 in the second. They get 3.